It's your boy, the one and only nonprofit sector connector. Wow, that was an extra long pause from the kid today. I'm fired up, man. It is basketball month here on Philanthropy and Focus. I didn't know 3 weeks ago it was going to be basketball month. To be honest with you, I was at an event late December, not late December back in 63 like that song, although who knows, I might sing late December back in 23. I was at an event, Springfield Gardens, Queens. Haran H2O Hargrave. I met him that day. I met my new friend Zoe, CEO Zoe Lorenzo Hall, who's introducing me to my next new friend Gary Forbes. 2 weeks ago, Haran was on the show. Last week, my friend Chris Noel and my friend Ryan Martin. Ryan Martin from CUNY runs the adaptive sports program at CUNY, the City University in New York. Chris Noel with Parks Department. He's runs the ADA functions over at the Parks Department. Also, he's the coach for New York City Rolling Fury. New York Rolling Fury, excuse me. I didn't know this was going to be basketball month, and I think next week we're going to be talking about pancakes. That's a whole different episode. I think I'm going to be eating a lot of pancakes in the month of February. That's kind of a teaser. We're going to see how that goes. And look, we're in basketball mode right now. My son playing CYO ball. He just finished his middle school season. My other son starts CYO, I think started last Saturday. I missed the game. He's got a game tomorrow. One of my daughters is playing CYO ball. I used to play CYO ball until I got to Chaminade High School here on Long Island and realized my career had ended. So I think we all realize that at some point our career may end, and everybody's career ends at some point. I mean, it's just how far along did you get? But I'll tell you the truth, gang. I'm joining the JCC in my neighborhood over here in Nassau County, and I'm going to start playing ball again. I'm probably in the best shape of my life right now, man. I sort of have like the physical body of, if you remember the movie E.T., you remember he was like a skinny guy, skinny arms, skinny legs with a little belly. I kind of have the physique of the extraterrestrial. Thank you, everybody. I hope you got a laugh out of that one. A little bit of a chuckle. So it is basketball month. Didn't know it was going to be, but it is. So let's just get into it, man. What is Philanthropy and Focus? Every single Friday morning, I make the trek up from my kitchen 2 flights up just below the roof of the house, gang, in my attic. That's where I am. This is right around, I kind of lost count because I did some preliminary shows back in the day in 2020. And since we've been on Talk Radio NYC, it's like episode 148 to 150, somewhere in that range. I kind of lost count. But the point of the matter is, I remember watching sitcoms when I was a kid. And if you got 100 episodes, you were like syndicated and you were like, they were going to put it on forever, like The Facts of Life or like Different Strokes and stuff like that. So hey man, maybe they're going to syndicate the show. I am going to do 5,000 episodes of this show. And I only tell you that because, well, I tell you that because look, it was an idea. I talked about this idea. I said, hey man, I'm going to do this show. It's called Philanthropy and Focus. And then I spent 24 months walking around telling people that I was going to do a show. And then I finally did it. So my thing is, don't waste the 24 months, gang. If you're going to do something, just friggin' do it. Try it out, man. Just Nike, right? Just do it. Try the thing out. I promise you this, something's going to happen. I'm not telling you it's going to be great. I'm not telling you it's going to be perfect. I'll tell you this, it ain't going to be perfect, but it's going to be something new. And you're going to have an opportunity to go back and look at it and review and see if that's what you want to do and try it again and measure and cut and measure and cut. Or you could just walk around talking about some stuff you're going to do and never do it. Life is freaking short, man. Get busy doing something. I have to actually, I'm fumbling my phone because my day started like this morning. I'm wearing, those of you who are watching or found this somewhere on a streaming, I'm wearing this shirt from an organization that's very important to me, Options for Community Living here on Long Island. Options for Community Living and their leadership team, really, especially my friend Yolanda Rabano Gross. Shout out to Yolanda and the team out there. They support individuals experiencing homelessness, living with HIV and AIDS, experiencing addiction issues, right? So we got to think about the nonprofits that we work with. Here's what I want. I reached into my drawer this morning and found this purple shirt. And I never wear long sleeve t-shirts. In fact, I hate long sleeve t-shirts because they bother me because they're never long enough. So I'm always messing with the sleeve. I don't know if some people are like, could you get into the show? Other people are like, I hate long sleeve t-shirts too, Tommy D. All right, so let me read. You can't see the back, but what it says on the back, it says resilience. And it's got this definition. It says resilience, parentheses, noun, and then it like breaks it out into resilience. And then it says the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant resources of stress, or excuse me, or significant sources of stress. It means bouncing back from difficult experiences. And I didn't realize the word bouncing was in there. And we're talking about ball today, so that's pretty funny. But bouncing back, gang, I took this picture of the shirt. I'm wearing the long sleeve t-shirt, and I sent this picture to my wife and my 4 kids in our little family text message because I said we need to find resilience. Life is challenging sometimes, man. You fall down. I was listening to Denzel had this speech. I think it was at the Oscars. Denzel, I say like he's my friend. Denzel Washington, you might have heard of him. He had a speech and it was just like, get knocked down 7 times, get up 8. We've heard this stuff before. And we're going to talk. I think these two men who are establishing their own careers and the work they're doing have gone through some adversity. And I don't even know them that well, but I'll tell you, everybody goes through adversity, gang. It's what are you going to do next, man? What did Mike Tyson say? Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. Well, life has a way about punching you in the face or maybe kicking you in the shins or giving you a little shove. But a lot of that, I think, is pushing you in a direction that you need to go to get better, get bigger, and make an impact. And I always say, like, when I see my kids, like, I don't coach the CYO team, but I love to watch them play ball. And I just say, get big, get big. I just like, get freaking, let's go. Like, just get as big as you can be and use whatever your body is and work it. All right, I'm going to stop there. I'm ranting. I'm raving. I'm extra fired up. I didn't even know how fired up I was. And I know one of my guests is operating on a little bit of sleep, but I don't think I fell asleep till about 1:15 this morning. And it was get the 4 kids to school at 6:15 start. So let's just go. I got caffeine to go. I have 2 cups of coffee. I got another caffeine drink. Let's make it happen. The show is Philanthropy and Focus. I do 2 things. I help nonprofit leaders tell their story and amplify their message. And I said, I was at an event for Ballin' for Peace, Springfield Gardens High School, and I meet Zoe. And Zoe says to me, oh, Tommy, you got a show. Love to come on the show. We actually did a teaser video, him and I, which I don't even think we put out there yet. We'll put it out after the show. But we did a video, and I was like, man, I'd love to interview you on my show. The thing is, my show's all about nonprofit organizations. So he goes, yo, all good, Tommy D. And I said, okay, go on. He said, well, then why don't we bring a friend and colleague of mine who I'm collaborating with who runs his own foundation? I said, we solved the problem. I said, Zoe, I got to check with my board of directors. I turned away for 1 second, said, we're good. I am the board of directors. I make the decisions because it's my show. All right. Zoe, CEO Zoe and Gary Forbes on Philanthropy and Focus. Good morning, gentlemen. What is up? What's going on?
Good morning. Good morning. We're excited, man. We appreciate the opportunity. I loved your energy from the day we met,
Right on, man.
and everything just made sense. I love what you're doing. You remind me of myself with the being that master connector,
That's
as
it.
we spoke about, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
it was great, man. We look forward to this right here. I'm glad we was able to make it work. And also, like I said, mentioning Gary, of course, who's another great person, we would definitely want to make this happen. It was a great opportunity.
I'm glad you're here. Gary, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you having us, and definitely love the energy early in the morning.
We're just
Show and
We're gonna have fun, man. We're
back.
just getting warmed up, brother. We're just getting warmed up. I mean, we're gonna be on fire by 10:59 when this show's over, and we're gonna have to come back and do 3 more shows in a couple of weeks. Because I don't know, we're gonna run out of time because I always run out of time. I'm like looking at I got to tell you this, man. I talked about the T-shirt. I love swag. I bought a hoodie at a nonprofit. I can't shout out everybody, but I bought a hoodie yesterday at a nonprofit. And I'm seeing swag. I'm seeing this Soul Survivors T-shirt that Gary Forbes got. I'm telling you, I don't know if there's a hoodie, but if there isn't, there should be. I would like to purchase a hoodie. I mean, Zoe is the marketing guy with all his gear on. If you can't see him, right? I mean, he's even at 10 a.m. in the morning on doing a podcast. He's got the backdrop, the behind him, the step and repeat, the whole deal. So I'm kind of helping you out. If you're only listening, you shouldn't be only listening. You should be watching. What do you got for me, Zoe?
Gee, I knew what type of show I was coming on. I just wanted to make sure I was prepared the right way. You know what I mean?
I love it.
I wanted to make sure we had the right look for your platform.
I love
That's
it.
all.
We get one shot, everything, right? Like it's one shot. So do it. What are you gonna? I don't know where Eminem's coming for, but I'm not gonna throw away my shot, right? Wasn't that? I think that was Eminem and 8 Mile.
Yeah, Eminem. Yep, yep,
Eminem,
yep.
and it's like, yo, like that's life, gang. When you're in it, take the chance. I was there repping a company that I don't own. That I was just helping them out, doing some different, brand ambassador stuff. But I'm in that room and I'm talking about again at Ballin' for Peace. I meet all these great people that I didn't know, expanding my network. And as you know, Zoe, and certainly the people listening, Gary, I don't know if you know this yet, but I am the nonprofit sector connector. It's only one, baby. You know why? Because I made it up. So that's how come there's only one. Let's let's get into it. So tell me, who are you? You know, who are you? What's your connection to the game? And then introduce Gary and let's have a conversation, man.
Right. Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I'm definitely another a replica of you as far as being a connector, conduit, that liaison, for folks. I realized that was kind of like my how should I say it? I guess my calling from young, because I've always been that way, even as a teenager growing up. I realized no matter what conversations I had, I listen to people, and my brain already just takes in, how could I help that person? You know what I'm saying? Because with resources that I know, and I'm always quick to say, oh, I got somebody that can help you with this. You know what I mean? And just automatically connecting them. Like back, you don't think about money. I'm not money driven or anything like that. You just genuinely want to help, because you have the resources. And that's what I come to realize today, that all of the resources and relationships that I've built up over the years is not for me. You know what I'm saying? They're definitely not for me. I realize now it was all for me to be able to pour into the type of person I am, to pour that into the communities and people who need that help. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have a problem with doing that. I've never been money driven, but I was born and raised in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. Came up over there. Had some trials, some tough times in the household, things we had to overcome, living, below the poverty level and things like that, or at the poverty level, coming up in Crown Heights. And I went to Prospect Heights High School. Well, first I went to elementary school at 316, PS 316. Then I went to Jackie Robinson, right there with a legendary Ebbets Field was what
Wow.
was made.
Wow.
So I went to IS 320 Jackie Robinson, and then I went to one of the worst schools in the country, Prospect Heights. This is where I started not taking school seriously, and didn't know the real repercussions of that, the consequences of that, right? So I went to Prospect Heights. I didn't start playing basketball until I was 15. And I played football first. That was my first love. But then I realized how much of a wuss I was, because the cold was the reason why I stopped playing football. So I played 1 year of football, won the championship. Thank God I had something to prove that I really played, and then 10th
Nice and
grade.
It's nice and warm in the gym, man. We can play
Yeah,
outside
yeah,
when
yeah,
it's
yeah,
outside
yeah, yeah.
weather, but we can get
Yeah.
inside the gym. Not always. You can't always get in the gym, but when you can, it's nice and playing out on. Listen, man, I hate being cold. I don't know where, like I say this all the time. Like I know where my parents kind of were from, but wherever my people are from, it had to be warm because I'm a baby, bro, when it comes to cold out. I just freaking hate being cold, man.
Now,
So it became basketball.
yeah, it became basketball. I was born in the summer too, so I use that a lot. I was born in the summer. I was born in warm in warm weather. So I went from there, and I played at Prospect Heights. I couldn't even dribble when I was there. I just rebounded and put back the offensive rebounds and ball and stuff. And then I just started improving, through high school, to the point where I got the MIP award, which is something that a lot of people don't really like, being most improved. But and then by my senior year, I was able to get to play in the Garden in the playoff round. That was a blessing. And then I became like I got on the all borough team. I made the all borough team in New York, and I was averaging 25 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 steals for the
Wow.
school. And I got the eyes of the Gauchos, a great AAU organization. Shout out to the Gauchos organization. I was fortunate to be playing with some great teammates. I'll shout them out: with Stephon Marbury, Gar Shamgar, Felipe Lopez, Hishimu Evans. All of these great guys. And because I was the one who didn't take high school serious, which is always the message, I was a class clown, didn't really do much in there. To be honest with you, I was never interested in a lot of the schoolwork because I knew it wasn't stuff that I was going to use in in the real world after school. I've always been entrepreneurial minded since 10th grade. I knew I didn't want to work for nobody. You know why? Because I didn't want to be part of the 40-40-40 plan, which is, well, first of all, I say that I know that the school systems, as we know, is designed for us to be employees and not employers. You know, we don't get taught that option of entrepreneurship. So for me, the 40-40-40 plan that I didn't want to be a part of in society was working 40 hours a week for 40 years, working 40 years for 40 hours a week to live off of 40% of what you couldn't live off of when you had all 100% of it.
Oh,
So
you remember the show Family Feud, and like somebody would say, like, you know, survey says, and then go, "Arr."
right.
When I was hearing you say, oh, it was like, "Arr," like with big X on it, because we are hoodwinked, man. We're tricked into that whole thing. That like that's what we're supposed to do, man. Because you know, listen, I'm breaking up, man. They're gonna come get me today. This might be it. You may never see your boy ever again, gang. You're gonna get me because we're telling the truths today on the show. That's what like. You know, not everybody wants us to be informed. Not everybody wants us to be aware because, you know, they need us, the system, the consumerism, the capitalism need you as a cog in the wheel. Anyway, I'm going to rant on that. I want to get Gary into the conversation because we got to take a quick break and we're going to come. Gary, just give me a minute or two and then we'll come right back to you when we get back. Your quick background.
Okay. Well, my name is Gary Forbes. I was born in Colon, Panama, and moved over to Brooklyn, New York when I was 4 years old. And actually, what's crazy is about the code. The first time I landed in Brooklyn, I landed in JFK. It was like February at the time. And if you know anything about Panama, it's 100 degrees every day. We only have rainy season and warm season pretty much all year long. So my first day landing in JFK, I was like, man, I want to go back home, man. It was snowing. It was like freezing cold. But what's crazy is I actually do love the cold weather. I've transformed. I'm not really a summer guy because you can get dressed in the cold. You can dress for the warm. Doesn't matter how many clothes you take off.
Yeah,
you're still gonna be, you're still gonna be sweating.
You guys still gonna be sweating. I get that, man. I get it. But I would tell you this. If I had a choice, I don't know much about Panama, but if I had a choice, San Diego is perfect, bro. It's like breezy and like 70, 80 all year round. And, you know, but the thing is, I live on Long Island, man. That's the other side of the planet as far as we're concerned, right? When we come back, I want Gary to continue talking, but I do have to get to a quick commercial break. It's part of the show. We'll go to the break, right back. Gary Forbes, my guy, CEO Zoe, on my show. That rhymes. We'll be right back. Tommy D.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
The only song in the history of songs about a man in an attic doing a show about nonprofits. And there's probably more, but I think it's the only song ever in the history that talks about a radio show from an attic. But I don't know. Google it, man. Google it if you don't believe me. All right, got to make some shout outs real quick because I got a guy called Logan that helps me out. He does the production work behind the scenes. And Gary Forbes and Zoe were I just talking about. Zoe and I are obviously wimps. We don't want to be outside when it's cold out. Gary Forbes digs the cold weather. My friend Logan kind of shouts out and he says, "This is my personal motto. You can always wear more layers." So I guess he's talking, it's all right being cold. You can always wear more layers, but you can only get so naked before the cops get involved. I guess words to live by, man. I don't know. I'm curious. Logan, maybe we should do a whole show about that comment and that quote. It's very interesting for me. All right, but I had to put it out there because Logan does an incredible job for me behind the scenes, and with that quote, I had to give him some love. All right, so Gary, you get to JFK, you want to get back on the plane, you don't get back on the plane, so you go to Brooklyn. So what happens from there on out?
Right. So, basically, I grew up in Brooklyn, all my elementary school life, high school life. And, my first week, I watched a game, a Chicago Bulls game. It was on NBA on NBC. I watched the Michael Jordan game. I was like, man, I fell in love with the game of basketball. And what better place to be than, the Mecca of basketball in New York, in Brooklyn, New York, um, you know, being around basketball. There were parks galore everywhere, every block. I grew up in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, so every block, we almost had a park. We had 258 Park, Kingston Park, literally all around me. So I fell in love with the game of basketball. And, my father, who's a very athletic person, my father was an Olympic lifter. He was a cyclist. He was a diver, a welder in the Panama Canal. And we actually, when I was around 3 years old, my father built us a basketball hoop with his bare hand. He was a welder. He literally was a handyman, can pretty much make anything. And I have it posted in one of my Instagram stories, the hoop that he built us. And when I moved to Brooklyn, New York, I'm getting older and I'm, getting friends around the neighborhood. And I asked my father, can he bring that, that hoop? It was a regulation hoop. He brought it over and I just remember.
Hold on. He brought it over. He built that when you were in Panama and he brought the hoop to the States.
Took it apart, started the steel, the rim part, took it off the backboard, the suitcase, shipped it over, and he put it back together when he was here, and yeah. So those little things obviously was water to the seed of wanting to be a basketball player. And I remember I was in the second grade, and the teachers usually give out the, what do you want to be when you grow up, kind of assignment to the kids. Everybody's raising their hand: doctor, lawyer, nurse, police officer, firefighter. The typical thing that kids see in the career days and things like that the school system usually does. And I was the only one in the class that said that, I want to, be an NBA player. I want to be a basketball player. And I remember the teacher's name. I always say this, speech whenever I do any kind of, talks or any kind of discussion about myself when I talk about, believing in yourself and things like that. I remember her name, Miss Walcott. She said, Gary, you got to be, a little bit more realistic. And, I understand, from
boo, Miss Walcott. Boo, Miss Walcott. Sorry. Timeout. 30-second timeout. Tommy D's calling timeout. Sorry. Yo, the people are not reasonable. People who are successful are unreasonable and unrealistic. That's why we're successful. Sorry, Mr. Forbes. Had to interrupt. I'm sure she's a lovely woman or was a lovely woman, but we don't agree with that. So
yeah, that's true.
I'm telling you, I mean, I feel bad that I'm calling her out like that, but like, we can't be realistic, man. You want to be realistic, then you could be regular. I Gary, tell me if I'm wrong.
No, but as I got older, I kind of understood what, from her, viewpoint, what she saw. Like, there was no NBA players in the neighborhood. That was something that seemed to her was very distant.
Yeah.
I went home that day. Luckily for me, I have an optimistic mindset. I've always been like that. Shout out to my father, my late father, who always just put that, just belief in yourself, no matter what it was. It was just an optimistic, mindset. So, went home, had the vision, like, all right, cool. That's, somebody who doesn't believe in me. That's almost kind of gives me like energy to prove
Out.
not necessarily wrong, but myself right.
Yeah.
Went to high school, had a great junior high school and high school, experience going to Benjamin Banneker in Brooklyn, New York. It was a specialized school. You had to take a test to kind of get in there. I could have went to Boys and Girls High School, which was literally right across the street from where I grew up at. But went to the school, and I look back, and I'm doing stuff with education now and the school system now, and I see that at the time I could have went to Boys and Girls High School that had 4,000 kids, versus where I went to Benjamin Banneker High School. We had a total of 350 kids.
Really?
So there was more. There was more teacher to student, connection. I used to remember after school sometimes, I'm sitting there talking with teachers. There's still some teachers that I have their phone numbers that I speak to. So there was that good connection, of, just growing up. So I have a very different viewpoint when it comes to my own experience of high school. And I do see the difference in, how, education is ran. But
Yeah.
that was a, very, very good experience, and fell in love with the game of basketball. And
Did you play? I want to hit me with the punchline. Did you make it to the NBA?
yes, I did.
All right. So tell us about that, and I want to get Zoe back into this because I want to know how you guys are connected and collaborating. But where'd you play? How long did you play?
I played 3 years in the NBA, played for the Denver Nuggets, Toronto Raptors, Houston Rockets, a little bit of the Brooklyn Nets before injuries and a couple other things took part in my career ending in the NBA. Played overseas for 8 years, played in different countries: Italy, Israel, China, Vietnam, Puerto Rico. Played in my home country in
Did you play in
Panama.
Panama? You did? Oh man, that had to be a thrill. See, the thing about this program that we do here, it's I realize it as it's happening. Like we never have enough time to expand on all the storylines. So I think what we can always do is, as long as we're still walking around this planet, gang, we can always do another show. We can get into just Gary Forbes on the Gary Forbes story and how it's motivational and the whole thing, right? So, so Zoe, I want to go back to you real quick because we're going to bounce back and forth. So,
Right.
I mean, tell me why you founded your organization, the Combine. Tell us what it is before we go to a break.
All right, yeah, real quick. I started my combine because I saw and found a void in the marketplace for what I've created, which I actually asked a former friend of mine who worked with the company who does the NBA combine, and I asked them, does this form and level of testing exist on a grassroots level? And he said, not that he knows, he don't think so. And then that's where my light bulb went off. Boom. I knew with my resources and relationships globally, that I can make this happen. And also, the head I have on my shoulders, so I birthed T3I Sports, which is an ecosystem for us to be able to benchmark and all of our middle school and high school kids via data and analytic tracking for their player shareable profiles for better recruitment and scouting advantages. So now these college coaches, NBA scouts, high school coaches can now have access to the data for of our kids from middle school and high school now for from an athletic measurement standpoint, which doesn't include talent at all. So I'll leave it there because I know
we're gonna come back to it. Yeah, we're gonna do a break, but we're gonna come back to it because. But I mean, I want before we go to break, one last question. Where did your career go? I mean, because you played, I kind of cut you off a little bit there too. Where'd you go? And
yeah, so So
Yeah.
from high school, I went to JUCO. I wasn't able to go D1. I had every D1 letter I could get offered, but I couldn't go because, like I said, I was a clown in school. I didn't take it serious. So from there, I was able to go to college and study something that I wanted, which was marketing and advertising, business administration. What I can use in the real world is where I am now, and it's very useful. So I went Sullivan County Community College, where we won the national championship. I was the MVP of the region there. My very first game, I broke the scoring record with 36 points off the bench. I had to throw that in there. Shot 14 for 19.
Those games aren't even that long. They're like,
Yeah.
what do you got, like 40 minutes? Like
40 minutes. I entered the game, I think 3 or 6 minutes in on both halves. So I was hungry to play. They have a big article in the paper that I have still about that. I became eligible that day. So it was dependent on my Civil War history exam.
Well, oh my God, that's a whole other story about Civil War.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, look, I knew we're never gonna get through the whole show, but that to me though, so that's it, gang. There's a young man at the time that there's an opportunity in front of him, right? He's coming off the bench. He just got eligible because of this exam. I'm gonna ask him later if we got time. I'll text you about Civil War later on, but like if there's an opportunity right in front of your face, what are you gonna do? It's right there. You're gonna go after it, or you just gonna let it go away and let somebody else take it, right? I mean, that's what we're talking about, CEO Zoe, right? I mean, that's it. So you play JUCO, Sullivan, win the championship, 36 points off the bench, the whole thing. What's the highest level you got to in the game?
Yeah, actually, from there, I actually went straight and went to Paris. To France. I had an opportunity to play in Switzerland for a second, in Geneva. And then down in Venezuela, in Caracas, so Cocodrilos. I would learn my little bit of Spanish down there. You have to, because they don't speak no English. And then on the side, but like, you can't be mad at the ladies that's there. You know what I'm saying? I learned Spanish in 2 days. I knew Spanish.
That's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother show, gang. We'll get to that on a different episode or something like that.
But the flip side to that,
Tommy,
the flip side to that is the message is, about staying focused and leave those distractions alone. You know what I'm saying? And just to get to the goals and what you're really meant to be there for.
There's a lot of distraction, and it's not just about the females. There's a lot of things. There's the flash, there's the party, there's the drink, there's the this, right? Like there's a lot of things. Talent is not the only thing. You need discipline, and in a lot of cases, I mean, look, nothing's more cliche than the athlete who gets a big contract and now that the money's gone and now he doesn't have it or she doesn't have it. I mean, we hear that all the time, and that's just simply a matter of life is tempting, man. There's a lot of temptations and it's difficult to stay on track, and there's a lot more to that conversation. But all right, when we come back, let's talk about how did you guys become friends, become connected, become colleagues, and what are we doing together? I got to hear about Soul Survivors, got to know what that is from the nonprofit perspective, and I want to obviously talk about Jan 27th, which is just next week. So I tell you, my friend, you look pretty well rested for a guy who didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night, CEO Zoe. But you look good, bro. You look good.
Just so, Tommy, I gotta.
You're a marketing genius. You couldn't look any other way than that, right?
Man.
I'm going to share a couple websites while we're at the break right now. Let's go to a break, Logan. And Logan, give me some more quotes so we can keep shouting you out. We'll be right back, gang. Tommy D.
Hey, everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy and Phocus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
What really drives success in business? Introducing Intangify, the show that explores the intangible assets that create value and growth. I'm Matthew Asbell, your host and an attorney focused on innovation. Join me Fridays at noon Eastern to discover how innovation, culture, and other intangibles shape thriving companies, from startups to established businesses. We'll share strategies to unleash your business's true potential. Tune in live on talkradio.nyc Fridays at noon Eastern and Intangify your business today.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
That's right, man. Cut through the static. Join me in the attic every single Friday for the rest of my life. So that's another 50 years of this show. Eventually, I do the show every morning because it makes me super happy to do this show. I get fired up, and what better way to get fired up than talk to leaders in the nonprofit sector and leaders in the business sector who are collaborating with leaders in the nonprofit sector. I'm sharing this website, Gary Forbes, thesoulsurvivors.com. I mean, look, man, it's like cartoon and characters and what's up, man? What tell me, what is this organization about, man? What are we doing here? Is a comic book? What? Just tell me, man. Fire away. The website again, gang, the soul, SOLE survivors.com. Tell me, Gary.
Soul Survivors is my comic book series. It's actually a platform about children with chronic health conditions like myself. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I'm one of 3 players in NBA history to play in the NBA with type 1 diabetes. As it is, it's only like 4,500 players that have ever played in the NBA in its existence. And to be one of 3 to play in the NBA health condition as serious as type 1 diabetes. But towards the end of my career, I wanted to figure out, I was like, all right, what am I going to do? What's my purpose here on this earth? And, what am I here to give back? And I thought about just my mindset, how I, look at, managing type 1 diabetes. I don't really look at it as, it's crazy how I look at it. I have just this crazy mindset. I don't really look at it as, an illness. It's something that it is a challenge. It's something that you can live and do and excel with. Obviously, I'm a proven and a living testament. So, I looked at my career where I played at, all the different places I've been to. And, I thought that diabetes wasn't just enough. I could have told a story about myself and, all the trials with diabetes, but there's so many child health challenges that are out there. There's, autism, there's, leukemia, lymphoma, Crohn's disease. So I thought about, my life. I was always into comic books. I was always into, TV shows. So I was thinking one day, I was like, all right, what's my purpose here? What am I here to give back? And I just thought of, I was just thinking one night, why not create the first idea was actually socks for diabetics. I've been in the hospital before. I've been, with some diabetic complications. And I thought, the hospital socks, the sticky socks.
Yeah. What do you like? You need compression socks, you're saying, or no, just better socks when you're in the hospital?
Well, when I was thinking about, I was like, all right, diabetics, we're susceptible to, certain, foot, diseases and things like that. My father's foot was amputated. My grandfather's foot was amputated. So I was thinking, hospital socks, they had the little sticky things, that'd be cool to make some, cool cartoon socks, for diabetics. But I thought that wasn't enough. And, I created a comic book series of superheroes, children with health challenges, kind of like, it's like a mix between, it's like a real life X-Men, X-Men were mutants. So, these are, real life superheroes who have these, real life challenges. And I always thought that it's kind of ignorant in the sense that we all are indirectly and directly connected to someone with one of these health challenges that I'm going to, highlight in the comic series. We do know somebody with autism or diabetes, type 1, type 2, somebody with some form of cancer. And these are just the beginning of superheroes. I have a plethora of comic book series on the way. Volume 3 is set to come out in March, about the 2 characters with diabetes, and we keep rolling from there. I've written so far 16 volumes. 2 are published. The goal is, maybe 46, and maybe some of these characters can have their own spinoff. I want to do a merchandise, avenue with this platform. Toys and connections with hospitals and schools. I'm obviously wearing the merchant. Some of the merch right
I
now.
know, man. It looked like when you came on the show early today with that T-shirt on, I was like, oh man, it looks like it's like Transformers, or what's he wearing right there? Like it's got that kind of. Again, I think I'm maybe a little older than you, Gary, but I feel like that's like an era. Like I think something like I'm doing some collaboration with a couple friends of mine, and I was like texting them, and I was like, yeah, you do this, you do that, you do this. We're like Voltron, and like they were like these kids are like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers generation. They're like 20 years behind me, some of these cats, and I was just like, I'm the old man. All right, I see it, man. I get it. I've been the old man in a lot of different rooms. I used to be the young man. They say like, hey, Tommy D, you should run the young professionals part of our group. I go, I'm 46, man. I'm not really the young professional anymore. But Gary, what are you trying to like? First of all, the inclusion piece of what you're doing here is unbelievable, man. I sit on the board of an organization called Spirit of Huntington Art Center. I would love for you to come for a visit. They've done comic book classes. They serve the population with intellectual developmental disabilities. In fact, I own an insurance agency, and they rebranded our agency Vanguard Benefits, which is a employee benefits agency, and they did our entire rebrand. So, and all the individuals that work there have intellectual developmental disabilities. So, it's just so special what you're doing. I want to be, I mean, like I said, we could spend hours and hours upon all these different conversations. Gary, there's a nonprofit angle to this, right? There's a nonprofit component to that. Give me that before we go to break.
Right. So when I was in the MBA, I started the Gary Forbes Foundation. It was a mission to raise awareness of the diabetes community, and to raise awareness of diabetes, and the challenges, and to empower those people that are managing those conditions. And it was always to foster an optimistic and genuine approach to health and wellness, and just the education, to reaching out to the world, and showing that myself, I was kind of, like I said, I was a living testament of all those challenges of living and managing diabetes, and doing something that was kind of rare in a sense. So that's where I created that. And I remember one of my first events, I had a strikeout diabetes event at Prospect Park, and a parent brought her child to the event, and she came up to me and she was like, thank you so much for, just being who you are, and, doing what you're doing. And because my child, he's in the 2nd grade, and he wanted to go out to try out for the basketball team. And his dad, who knows, obviously he has diabetes, he told them that, yeah, you can't, try out for the basketball team, you have diabetes, which is kind of like obviously a misconception.
Right. But
And
again, I mean, the dad's looking out, right? He's just thinking maybe the kid, but right, then you are able to counteract that, as there's a guy who played in the NBA.
luckily his friend was in the car with him, and he was like, Gary Forbes has type 1 diabetes, and he plays in the NBA. So that kind of was my first, like, okay, and kind of light bulb went on my head. I was like, all right, I'm kind of here to impact and empower, inspire. And, I at the time, I didn't know how big my impact could be, but I know now with, through Soul Survivors and the comic book series that I created, and not even a series, like I said, it was a comic book platform to, like you said, inclusion and connection. The end goal for Soul Survivors is a theme park. I see that maybe 10 years down the line.
Dude, I got chills. I don't know about you or anybody listening, but I got chills, man. Like I feel like I'm ready. I'm gonna be there. Whenever that is, I want to be at the gate going, yo, you were on my show and you were talking about this thing. Now it happened, man. That's it. Why not? Why not, man? Why right? You said something here in the chat. I want to read it out here because I think it goes right in line with what you're saying. Doubt your doubts before you doubt your faith. Yo, just because an idea pops into your head doesn't mean it's legit, doesn't mean it's real. You could just blow it out. We got like 60,000 thoughts every day, I think. And statistically, don't quote me because I'm no statistician, but I think it's like 95% of those 60,000 thoughts are negative ones. So that means I never curse on the show, but that means those are shitty thoughts. Blow them out. Think about, let's get rid of those. Why don't we doubt that nonsense before we doubt what we can do? You know, like that's Gary. So, what a great show this has been already. Here's what we're gonna do. Unfortunately, we got to take another break. When we come back, it's gonna be the lightning round because I want to hear T3I, the upcoming event, January 27th. How I think Gary, you're gonna be at that event? Yeah. So I want to hear about some of that collab we're going to do. And then, so we talked about it when I'm out there on site on the 27th. I don't know if we're going to do a podcast, but I'm sure we can do some video interviews and cool stuff that day. So when we come back, I want to know what's coming up for the event on January 27th, and then what's coming up for the Gary Forbes Foundation, what's coming up for Soul Survivors, how we can help. We will be right back.
One second, G.
Yeah, before we go.
But for that segment, real quick, I know you're on time. Make sure. See, if y'all wouldn't be right if y'all didn't have the copy. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have the copy.
You got the copy. Of course you do. Because you're a
this is how we
marketing
gonna
guy.
Close out that segment. You know, we gotta close that segment out.
So close it out. That's right. So if you're only listening right now and you're not watching, my guy Zoe is holding up one of the comic books right now. Yo, he's a marketeer. Gary, pay attention to what he's doing here, man. He's look at this. I mean, you showed up with the shirt, it's good, but this guy's like, yo, look at the comic book. Look at it. I'm looking at it. I'm supposed to go to a break already, Zoe. You're getting me in trouble. I'm gonna get fired. Look at that. I love it. I love it.
We got everything. Let's go.
Let's go to a break. We'll be right back.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Broncu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy and Phocus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
That's right. We started with a definition of resilience at the beginning of the show, and now my friends are dropping quotes in here in the chat room. So let's hit them real quick. You know, if you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're right. You know, we know that for a while. If you think you can, so think you can. It says you decide. Gary Forbes said that. Well, Gary Forbes put it in the chat. We know we've heard that one before, but it's true, man. You know, it's all about your vision. It's all about your mindset. I was just saying that the other day. You know, I drive my 4 kids to school every day, and I say it says in my calendar, it says I get to drive my 4 kids to school today. Not that I got to, I get to. And I'm not perfect, by far from it, but that's a different mindset. I get to. It allows me to embrace that opportunity. Even when my 2 daughters are arguing in the car ride to the school, I'm still like, I get to do this, man. Not everybody has this opportunity. There are no greater powers than those of choice, imagination, and belief. This is really cool. This is so great. What a great, thank you, Logan, for that one. That's beautiful. All right, let's get into it. This is the lightning round. So, what's coming up on January 27th? How can people plug in? And here's the other thing that I was thinking about selfishly. I never do selfish stuff on the show. It's kind of selfish. My son is 12, about to be 13, one of my sons. And this guy, he's a baller. And I want him to toughen up. I want him to get a little tougher and stuff. So I want to get him out to some of the things you got going on. I want him to come out and see Haran. I want him to come out and see Gary. Gary's playing whatever's going on. I want to get him involved with. So we'll talk about that. But tell us how people can get involved with what's going on January 27th. Set it up again, please, if you could. Give me like 3 minutes on the whole thing up to January 27th. Set it up. What's going on? What you actually going to do for people? Take that away for me.
Right. So what's going on? We'll go right into that part first. January 27th at Uncommon Charter, 1485 Pacific Street is where we'll be doing our first as far as an empowerment piece in New York and in Brooklyn of our Grind and Shine Athlete Empowerment Summit 2024. So we'll be empowering, inspiring, and motivating our young scholars, obviously, to be better versions of themselves and to give them options on being a best. I won't always use better because we could always be better, but finding that better self within yourself, so to speak. You know what I mean? And sharing the options in life at an early age, because I didn't have that. And this is why I want to be able to give that at that age, because I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship or having that option as a youth, pretty much, period. So I want to be able to bring all of those resources and expose this to them at an early age. So now they can have those options, because we know at the ages, most of us really don't know these options even exist, or being able to have the access or resources and relationships like mentors and people like ourselves to be able to be in their ear to give them some good options and advice, right? So that's why I created the empowerment piece. Plus, I'm always been big on youth empowerment, women equality, and women empowerment, which I've done a lot of women empowerment conferences because the women equality situation is terrible, which to the point where they don't even have a combine for women, which is like unreal.
At any level, you're saying at any age group, nothing. Okay.
At any age
Tell me
group.
let's break it down for a second, because I don't know that everybody can relate to what the combine is. So can you, because some people are not in the game,
Yeah, so the combine is athletic measurement testing. So we with 4 stations. We have our 3/4 court sprint. We use the smart speed valve equipment, which is the highest form and level of accuracy timing gauge you can use, which is actually what the NBA, NFL uses. So we have our 3/4 court sprint, our 4-way lane agility, our vertical, which is your high, your leaping, your 1-step vert, your running vert, and our reactive pro agility drills, also known as the shuttle run. So we just test with those 4 stations, and then those results are actually there real time, and then we create the data for you guys post the event and everything like that. So what
if I get that data? Let's just say this is for middle school kids you're talking about, and right, or
high school. It's for all ages, but
right.
Our target audience is middle school, high school.
Because that was you saw that as an area of opportunity that was not being served, right?
Exactly.
Got it. So if I got my son playing and he goes out and he gets this data now he can use that back to Mr. Marketeer over here. He can use that to market himself, right, into the game and different things like that, right? I mean, right. That's part of it, man. That's like, I know a little bit about building a brand. I actually say, I think it was it Jay-Z that said, I'm not a businessman, I'm a business man. Remember that? And I'm like, right on. Yes. And I love that. I remember that forever. So, but that's what it is, man. It's building. And if you're a player, you're still a brand. You're still,
right.
There's a lot to that, even at a young age, right?
Right. Yeah. You definitely always want to be a brand. I love brand. I was always into branding and marketing. Everything you do, you want to be a staple and a walking billboard for yourself and just representative of yourself everywhere, because it's a brainwash, right? The more they see whatever it is, you want people to just say, wow, I've seen that somewhere before, and that's all it takes to open a conversation. I've opened up my laptop and everything. I got stickers everywhere. People in the airport see all the branding and it just looks bigger than life. Like they just curious now.
Well, I want to know, man. Like I remember you and I had like a 10-minute conversation about your logo, because it's reminiscent of the NBA logo, but it's the guy's not even doing the same move. It's none of that, right? But still, I know, because I know that rectangle, so my brain is telling me NBA, that's basketball. What's he doing? And like if I saw you at JFK, we're walking past each other, I might go, what's up with that, man? What do you got? Like,
Right.
what is that, right? Like, I wear a T-shirt that has a drawing of me on it. It's got like that guy if if anybody knows the Tommy D caricature. Actually, Gary, are you an artist? Do you do the artwork or do you do the writing? Because I mean, I want to hear about that too, real quick.
Yeah.
I do writing, but not the artwork. I'm not that great at the artwork, but yeah, I have a actually came up with characters. Yeah, my tattoo artist, and then I gotta actually outsource somebody to animate these, and hopefully the plan is a TV show, cartoon coming soon. So
I love it. Why not? That's the point. Why not? Just friggin' do this stuff. Gang, do it. The world is your oyster, as they say. Go after it, get it, make it happen. And if it doesn't work, make it happen a different way. That's what it is. All right. So we are way out of time. I knew that was going to happen a while ago. So like when we started. So Gary, what can we do to help you out? Is just shout us out real. Give me 15, 30 seconds, and then we'll go right back to Zoe, and then we'll take it home.
Just obviously you follow the Instagram at the Soul Survivors. Obviously the website thesoulsurvivors.com. Obviously would love everyone to purchase the Volume 1 and Volume 2 copies. The plan is to be a New York Times bestseller, so obviously I need the public to help out. But this goes to just the overall support and inclusion of children in our communities everywhere. The world, the entire world is experiencing one of these health challenges, and I'm going to continue to highlight every single childhood health challenge there is, and give them a positive face, because all these commercials that they show, it's a very scary place. The hospital is a very scary place, and I know from experience going through a terminal health condition, it is a very challenging and scary thing. So I want to be that light of hope, that light of empowerment to help these kids, and just to help the world kind of understand and be more inclusive and understanding for everyone.
That's my guy right there. What do we call it? That he gets the mug for the day. No big deal, just changing the world. That's what I always say. No big deal, just changing the world. You are changing the world, Gary Forbes. I am so appreciative to Zoe Lorenzo Hall, CEO Zoe, for introducing us. Zoe, take us home before I take us home. What do you got?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I wouldn't be a super excited, proud dad if I didn't give a shout out to my son, who is Julian Hall, who is the second youngest MLS player in MLS history right now, and has every team in Europe wanting him, So Woo! Shout out to my son Julian, who's only 15 years old. He just signed a shoe deal with Adidas. So
really, 15. Yeah. Wow. 15. Who's repping him, huh? How's Zoe?
Yeah, well, I of course I am, so it's his birth, but he plays for the New York Red Bulls. Y'all follow Julian Hall. But anyway, yeah. So I want to always give my motivational quotes, and I always like to go out by saying, remember, successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. And where you are today is a result of the choices that you made in the past, and where you'll be tomorrow is a result of the choices that you make today. So we'll see you all at the top, because the bottom is overcrowded. Peace, love, and blessings. But follow us at T3I Sports Combine on IG, all right, and T3I Combines on Twitter, all right. You're on mute.
I'm on mute on my own show. Oh my God, I'm
Shout
fired
out
up.
to Tommy though. Shout out to Tommy first.
Thank you.
Got to give the love back.
I got it. And I appreciate it, bro. I'm doing the best I can with what I got, man. That's what it is. And I'm just trying to get better today than I was yesterday. I love this, man. This fires me up. I put myself on mute because I was going to interrupt you. And I was like, he's got it, baby. Let him go. So look, Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connected, the show's Philanthropy and Focus on the Instagram for me, TommyD.NYC, TommyD.NYC. If you want to send me an email, TommyD at Philanthropy in Focus. And don't forget, PHOCUS, just like we used to say fat. That's right. Back in the day, I'm a hip hop guy. I love the music, but we used to say fat, and it had nothing to do with anybody being obese when we used to say it. But I also like alliteration, and that's the Philanthropy and Focus. Guys, make it a great day. I'm way overdue. Gary Forbes, Zoe, thank you guys. Appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Take care, gang.
Thank you, T.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
listening to Talk Radio